What would you say to Danhausen in anticipation for this match on Sunday? What are you going to do in this match?
Danhausen, good sir. I hope you're watching this, and I hope you take the time watching and listening, because this is who I am. Heart to heart, this is who I am. Whether I'm Dustin Nguyen or the Wind Dragon, who you see before you will be the same very man you'll see in the ring. You may not expect it much, but I am grateful and honored to face you. I hope in this lifetime and many more ahead of us, they will continue forth. May the wind guide you.
How are you on this fine day?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
It's pretty good so far. It's funny, we talked about this and we had a hangout in the last Inspire show. And that was the first thing I noticed about how we interacted, is how very polite our interactions were. And I'm kind of glad. It's kind of rare to see those types of interactions. And how has kindness played in your career so far?
For me?
Yeah.
The best way I can describe it is just I just treat others how I would want to be treated, and it comes naturally to me because of my upbringing and so forth. Growing up with grandparents most of my life, respect and kindness comes into play naturally. And it's funny how you say like our conversations are always so polite and just upsetty. I'm that's just me. That's just me. And I just try to be who I am. And everyone that I've come across in the business, whether it's a fan or it's a fellow peer in the locker room, is like, hey man, you can relax, chill. It's a safe place. It's like, it's me. It's me.
But yeah. No, it's interesting too, because like what I find interesting about you is, of course, we're going to bring up your upbringing as well. I've never seen a wrestler that has such a kung fu influence, and I've had a guest on before that does ballet, and she does her own interpretation of like Black Swan, and especially cool. With what you're doing, how did that come about?
To answer your question, but the theme of my character being martial arts and kung fu and all that stuff, it's more than just what I present in the ring, and for what is the Wind Dragon, it's what I grew up with. It's what I trained all my life. Like before I found pro wrestling, I was in love and inspired, no pun intended, inspired by a lot of martial arts movies and TV series that I would watch with my family, especially with my mom's side of the family. Her side of the family, especially my grandfather, ordering a lot of DVDs and good old VCR tapes of old Vietnamese translated, dubbed Hong Kong kung fu movies and stuff, and watching those types of stories on play, it really captivated me of how much styles and characters and everything that comes into play with the overall picture. And I realized that pro wrestling is the same way. Is the exact same way. It's not as like how do I say, choreographed, like beautifully choreographed, or say, but it all depends, because wrestling is subjective and so is martial arts. And all my life I grew up like learning kung fu all my life. It's like one of the things I was really passionate about before I found professional wrestling. And the funny thing about pro wrestling and kung fu, no matter how many times or how long I try to stay away from it, whether it's life, school, all stuff, it always eventually comes back. It just always comes back. It never goes away. It never goes away, man.
And I'm curious, like, what were some, and you mentioned like Hong Kong flicks, like what were some of the films that kind of stood out? Even before you step in the wrestling league, what were some titles that would say, hey, this looks pretty cool?
Oh man, where do I start? If we're going by what my family watched growing up, especially just all of us eating dinner at the dinner table, I was a picky kid. All I had was a bowl of rice, soy sauce, and fried fish. Both my grandparents, actually, mom and dad's side, they're both coincidentally fishermen. Fishermen, go figure. While we're eating dinner, we would watch whatever they watch. It was all TV series of Hong Kong kung fu movies at the time. So it would mostly be TVB or ATV, like that type of stuff. You see Tony Leung, Andy Lau, and Michael Mew, Felix Wong, etc. They watched that type, and I enjoyed it. But most of the kung fu movies that I think like people who like modern day will gravitate to, especially with the Wu-Tang Clan music group, would
Well, okay.
I
Interesting. That's such an interesting thing you brought. God, keep going. You
yes,
kind of blew my mind.
yes. I personally like. I wish I did. I didn't really like get to listen to that stuff growing up, but I'm pretty sure titles like the 36 Chamber of Shaolin or Five Deadly Venoms, Drunken Master. There's Mystery of Chess Boxing. There's a lot of like kung fu movies I can think of top of my head. If you like tell me to like do 20, I can do 20 in a heartbeat. It's amazing. But yeah, all the kung fu movies I grew up watching, especially what was one in particular? Oh, especially Martial Club, Martial Club by Gordon Liu, directed by Lau Gar-lung, and also Once Upon a Time in China, the Jet Li trilogy. Yes, sir. Yes,
oh
sir.
my gosh, that is such a vintage, like that's a vintage flick, right? That was the first movies I watched as a kid. Is all of the trilogy, and it's kind of nice seeing the fluid movements that the choreography has during the movie. And I'm curious, especially with what you're doing in kung fu, how did that flow into pro wrestling as you started to train under New Texas?
Let's see here. The first thing when it comes to training in pro wrestling, whatever I learned in kung fu, besides trying to keep myself in shape and being flexible, which can help you prevent injuries. So,
right.
But with training, I first cleared everything that I learned out of kung fu. Like I just keep it in the back burner. Just like, okay, I learned this all my life. This is a whole new different beast. Let's take it from the top. Let's have a little refresh. Eyes on the prize. Let's all get focused. Let's all be focused. And ever since learning professional wrestling from my school of New Texas at the Houston Premier Arena, especially under the tutelage of J.J. Blake, Kiefer Bartek, and Justin Bulldog Walker, I took every lesson heart to heart, whether it's I'm taking basics in an analytical standpoint, and sometimes when I get a little frustrated, like any upstart young person would be, even then I would think of like, all right, so I fell down. All right, what can I learn before I get up? And per se, and it's just when I started to like be more confident in myself and my abilities of wrestling is when I started to, all right, let's see what magic we can create here. Let's finally make the synergy of two loves of my world coming in one. And that's when I finally got to express and create and unleash the character before you that is the Wind Dragon.
Right. And especially I was watching some of your matches when I watched Inspire shows. A couple of matches kind of stood out for me. What I saw for the first time, it's you against Matt Locke. And they're two different styles. I'm very interested seeing Matt Locke, who's basically just a brawler bruiser, to someone that you've done with the flowing movements of kung fu. Like how did you approach that match, and what were your feelings coming into it when you faced Matt Locke?
There's one thing that has not changed in the realm of pro wrestling. Everybody in Texas does not like Matt Locke. He makes it really clear. He's not there to win no friends. He's there to just spit at you, beat you up, and win 1, 2, 3. That's his objective. Very simple minded, and that's him. But for me, I want to how do I say, leave a message to the ring and to the fans, captivating the message that hard work and training will carry you through whatever obstacle that come across against you. And going into the match, it was painful. Lots of pain. That's one thing that does not change.
Right.
No matter it's fluid, no matter it's effective and just absolute brute, pain will always be there. It always be, and if you got to get used to pain if you're a wrestler, because it's there every day, every day. But the one thing that I made sure was an objective when I faced up against Matt Locke is that nobody that steals the championship should be proclaimed themselves as a champion, because you got to earn it. You have to earn the championship.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe everything that I train for and everything that I fight for is to earn myself to something or somewhere. And at the end of the day, if I didn't learn anything, I don't feel like I earned anything, per se.
It's one of those things where I'm seeing a lot of championships lately where it is, you have to work that spot to get it. And it's one of those things where like when you face Matlock, it was brutal to start with, and after that the TV spot kind of threw me off on a loop too. It's like, wow, Matlock did not go there, and he did. And seeing how that match went, it's kind of cool seeing it. It has its own beauty within the chaos, so it's kind of nice seeing that too. So, and
I am gonna lie though, my world was all dazed and blurry but before I realized, oh wait, what's behind me? Oh, it's a TV. And then I just got out of there. And the funniest thing about fighting per se, your senses, they accelerate when your life and body's on the line. And what's intriguing about survival instincts is that you will do things that you never thought you could be able to do. And you'll be feeling some parts of your body like, oh, wait, I had that muscle? I never knew that. It's an experience that I will never forget. And the one thing that I made sure to relay to Matlock in that match is that the Wind Dragon is not one to be messed with. I'm not one to be underestimated, and I will fight with everything that I got. I'm gonna make her life. I'm gonna make her life harder than it needs to be if you want to face me.
Right, and we're moving up to when you had the triple threat match with Izzy James and with Maya World, and especially facing two more opponents. Like, how'd you get through to that match? And what was the flow of things when you faced Izzy and with Maya when that happened?
Let's see. Coming up into this business, I've always admired Izzy James, at least for someone of his tenure who's been around the game for like quite a long time. I think like over 10 years, if correct me if I'm wrong. And to feel his approach in how to create a story with more than two people, it was really humbling to be a part of that. And I don't often fight in like triple threat matches or fatal four ways of some sort. Not often. One-on-ones are my specialty, and if I'm lucky, I might go 2v2. It's better to have one person behind your back than nobody. I've always anticipated to face against, especially with two people who've been in this business more than me coming into it, and especially at the time that I was still labeled as a new Texas guy. I felt like I had something to prove to the people of Austin in that match. But the one thing that I did not sway of myself is to never give up, give everything of my all. And I'm very grateful to win the hearts of Austin that day.
That's good. No, I know you already have my nod of approval on that triple threat, because that's something that's really hard to do, especially when you're facing two other people. So it's nice to see you're moving up. You're moving up in your career, which kind of leads me to another thing. You've had a little sneak peek going in the big leagues. Now, granted, you're in the security staff in the WWE at the time. What was that?
We going there. We going there.
But seeing the inner workings of the machine within WWE and learning at least to be in that aspect, how did you apply to what you're doing in your career and seeing how the machine works within the WWE?
It is amazing that just a few times going to the absolute top echelon of anything. For example, comparing to a local convention, comparing it to Comic-Con. The moment you touch the absolute top, you have an absolute different way of thinking an entirety of of whatever you want to put your mind into. Having the privilege of going to WWE, never in a million years I ever thought I ever stepped foot in a WWE of any sort. Because believe it or not, for as long as I've watched and loved professional wrestling, I've never ever been to a WWE show. Ever. And actually, to share a little story, I was supposed to go to WrestleMania 25 at Houston, Texas. I forgot what it was. I forgot what it was called. I forgot what the stadium was called before they call it Reliance Stadium. I think it was called Reliance Stadium. I'm not sure. I was really young. I was so excited to go. Wanted to see Shawn Michaels and Undertaker for the first time, and no, I took it away because I didn't finish my homework, and my
oh, that sucks.
Yeah, my family just said, nah, all that excitement you saved up for WrestleMania season, nope. I'm going off track. But to be able to have the great experience of being in extra work for WWE is something I will never ever take for granted, and I would love to have any more opportunity learning and to see how crazy and insane and intricate a whole. It doesn't even feel like a wrestling show. It feels like its own conglomerate of per se, and nothing stops. Nothing ever stops in WWE. And seeing how grand just a weekly show can feel, it was like, wow, I would never see this in an independent level. This is amazing. And seeing performers and producers and everyone in between, to cameramen, the pyrotechnics, and just everyone working together to produce a high quality product. And it shows that the top echelon are light years ahead of what we are living in with the independent scene. But it's not necessarily a bad thing per se. It keeps us more hungry, and it gives us more to understand, to learn what we can do to better our scene. And the benefit of seeing the people that I strive to be a part of one day in my career is the insurmountable knowledge of just seeing how people work together, how they take their time, want to make sure everything's perfect, and it keeps me motivated, and I will keep on working hard to get to that level. And
yeah,
I hope that answers that question, because it's a lot.
No,
it's a lot.
Because like when you had a sneak peek, now it's kind of like it's a preview of what it is to come, and especially with especially being in the machine, is it's a picture of something bigger in your career, pretty much like everything right now, like when people were just either at a dark match or anything like that, they got to see what it's like to be at that level. Of course, it takes some time to get to that level, and I want to take a step back too, because with the Texas Contender Series, and especially with what you're doing in your career, how did that shape you to who you are as of today, being that wrestler?
Man, with Texas Contender Series, I hope everyone that's listening can agree to this, that we've come a long way since episode 1 to now. It's oh man, it's hard to believe to be a part of something since the beginning. Way before I became the Wind Dragon, I was a referee, and that helped me dip my foot into what it means to be a wrestler, performing in front of many people or a couple of people, whichever it needs to be. And I'm grateful to Sheriff Kiefer Bartek for creating something like Texas Contender Series, because professional wrestling, it's its own type of beast. That what separates the men from the boys, if I can take from Low Urban saying, those who want to be better themselves, they need to have reps, and reps is vital to whatever you put your mind into in whatever craft you aspire to perfect that, and you can't really like better yourself if you don't understand, all right, what was good, what was not good, what can I do better, and so forth and so on. And Texas Contender Series, the whole thing as a show is not only we want to present a very good product, a good quality product to the fans, because wrestling should always be a good product, especially if you're going to put your passionate heart into it. And the fans, I feel like fans can easily understand that. And when something that when someone puts so much work into something, you could feel it. You feel like, I can taste the passion. It's very nice. And I'm very grateful to everyone who takes their time and spend their hard-earned money to support us, And honestly, without Texas Contender Series, just like many people before me, there would be no Wind Dragon, and there would be no me, because I always strive to be better every time I step foot in the ring. Whether I'm in Texas Contender Series or MPX or Inspire, or wherever I go, it's always important to be wanting to be better than you were before.
Right. And it's, of course, like the Texas Contender Series it's still and I'm watching a lot of the matches as well over the past few weeks, and the product has been going on a great consistent basis, because a lot of the wrestlers are learning things along the way. And I spoke with Kiefer about that, how on certain days, okay, here's the past here's the last series, okay, what can we do to make everyone better with that? It could be something that can be fixed later on, and then it got fixed later down the line. So having that basically having that soil being tilled and cared for, that seed will grow for those wrestlers who are coming up. And I'm seeing a lot of the guys on Texas, and I had Father O'Day before, and seeing how he's developed in his own way. And of course, you have your own path with being a wrestler as well. So it's kind of nice seeing the Texas Contender Series, because people need to get reps, because people are not going to learn when that happens. So
I agree. And with everyone who's been a part of this Texas Contender Series, the one thing I want to point out is it's always important for everyone's growth and the growth of one scene, of one community, is to have a great support system for one another. If everyone wins, if one person wins, everyone wins. We all win together. We all grow together. We leave nobody behind. You're gonna get beat better with me. Dang it! You're not gonna give up on me. We worked too hard. We're too deep into this. We're too deep. Come on, man! I believe in you. And it's there are days it can feel like, did I really grow better than the last one? And you never realize it until you start to think like, oh dang, I'm a lot better than I was last year.
Yeah.
And the best way I can describe this is, do you play video games by chance?
Yeah, of course.
Like fighting games, for example. Games. In the beginning, like every time you try to practice, you don't feel growth. You don't feel it. Like it's not something you can feel day by day. You have to like keep going and going and going until suddenly one day, oh my god, you're like comparing like last year to now. It's like, oh my god, where has the time gone? Where has the time gone, man? And again, I go back to the support system. Kiefer Bartek, JJ Blake, Justin Walker, and even others like Diego De La Cruz, Stephen Wolf, Hyon, etc., etc. It's always humbling and I'm very grateful, because it's not I'm not sure how to really say this. It feels like once in a lifetime that you have a place that everyone has your best interest. Everyone wants to see you succeed, and they will work with you to succeed as long as you want the work for yourself.
Yeah.
And that is something I always never take for granted.
When you had the call from BIS saying, hey, welcome to being in the roster with Inspire, what did it feel like after going through all of the years that you're doing in your wrestling career? How did that feeling like getting that call from Biss saying, "Hey, welcome to Inspire"?
I can still remember the day like it was yesterday, and it's crazy to see how far I've gotten in my career thus far. And for a long time, I've always wanted to visit Inspire because when I started setting my foot into independent wrestling, I had no knowledge of Texas independent wrestling and independent wrestling in general. But the more I learn, the more I understand that not only New Texas, but Inspire Pro goes long way back, and they've set a pinnacle to what a good standard pro wrestling is, and it has a rich history. It has a very rich history, and I have the love and respect for it. And to see that it's still alive and well, and the fans that love every show month by month, it was something that I was always wanted to experience. But unfortunately, due to outside circumstances, I couldn't get to go to Austin. But now things are a little different now, and to be gracious enough to be on the stage of the Empire. The Empire is amazing, by the way.
I love it. It's so good.
It's really good. It's like, hey, don't get me wrong. Home is home. Houston Premier Arena, it's home.
Yeah.
But man, I am enjoying the AC. This is oh man, it's really cool. It's really cool though. A control room, a garage in one place. It doesn't matter where I go. Just as long as we have a ring, we can create some magic.
Exactly.
We create magic. But I did not expect Biss to approach me in that type of way after the match, and especially since I didn't win the Inspire Pro Lawless Darkness Championship. But if I have won the respect of the good people of Austin that day, and having that feeling of winning the respect of Biss of all people, it felt like too good to be true, you know. And again, coming into the match, I felt like an outsider because I still felt like the effects of Battle Wars was still not resolved per se, but I wanted to go in there with a peace of mind and let everyone know that the Wind Dragon is all for peace. And if that means I can make Inspire my home my home of many, bring people together to mend ties, then I'm very gracious that it was me. And Biss said, I did not expect him to say this, because it sent chills down my spine when he said, "The heart and soul of New Texas Pro," and ended off with, "Why not both?" Indeed, why not both?
Yeah, and coming up this weekend, as you can see from my wall over there, we have Danhausen, who's a fixture on his own in the wrestling business, and coming with this match this Sunday. What are you expecting in this match with Danhausen? Because Danhausen is a very unique wrestler, and what are your expectations coming into this?
Let's see. The one thing that I always hope for, especially a man of his caliber, is, are the fans going to have fun with our match? Are they having a good time? Because that is the most important thing for me of all things. If the fans are not having a good time, no one's going to have a good time per se. And Danhausen, I can tell by the way how he presents himself and the way how he develops the character. It's a very important thing with at least with American professional wrestling. Character. You can tell so much just from showcasing that one thing. And the best part about it is that you can make unique dynamics with one character that you never expect to interact with another. And for him to face the martial artist of the Wind Dragon, it's gonna be quite a spectacle. It's not often you're gonna see that type of matchup. You know what I'm saying? Not often.
Yeah, and we're gonna be close to wrapping up, and have like a couple more questions with this conversation. And Now let me ask you this, and what would you say to Danhausen in anticipation for this match on Sunday? What are you going to do in this match?
What would I say personally?
Yes.
Danhausen, good sir. I hope you're watching this, and I hope you take the time watching and listening, because this is who I am. Heart to heart, this is who I am. Whether I'm Dustin Nguyen or the Wind Dragon, who you see before you will be the same very man you'll see in the ring. You may not expect it much, but I am grateful and honored to face you. I hope in this lifetime and many more ahead of us, they will continue forth. May the wind guide you.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. I do want to end this conversation with this. So first of all, thank you for having you on, Dustin. It's been nice to seeing you virtually.
Come on. Thank you for letting me have the honor of being your guest. It's we want to try to set this for a long while. It was like setback after setback, and like you busy here, I'm busy here. It was like finally
we got something out of it.
Yes, so I'm having a blast.
Thank you so much. That's my aim, is to really get to know you better. I try not to inject, and of course there's the occasional, because I thought it would be something, and then it would be something completely different, and in seeing that. But I'm honestly glad to see you in person, because I got to know the Wind Dragon character a little better, especially with how you're doing in the ring, and how a lot of the training that you're doing is finally showing results at the end of it. And now you get to see this guy over there on Sunday. So, but I do want to end our conversation with this. The World Health Organization listed adolescents between the ages of 10 and 19. Now, between those age ranges, people do pick things up along the way. Now, if you're in the same room as young Dustin Nguyen / Wind Dragon, we'll throw that in there, at the age of 15, what would be the advice that you would like to give, or what would you like to talk about?
Yes, thank you for setting the scene so perfectly, because there's a lot I want to tell myself 9 years ago. I think that the math goes correctly. Look at that. I'm not good at math. Let's throw that. Oh man. But what would I tell 15-year-old me from all my experiences that I've carried through? School will be over sooner than you think. Like it will go by. the days of waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning just to catch the bus, trust me, that day will be over. They will over. Just endure, young man. And always remember and be kind to those who were good to you, and be grateful to those who always loved you since day one, and live by this notion: don't let anyone dictate what you want to do in your life, because in life we only have one, and life is too short for regrets. And don't worry. Just don't worry about what the future holds for you. Worry about what you want to do. What do you want to do, Dustin? What do you want to be? And I wish somebody told me that when I was younger, because pro wrestling, it was something I was really afraid of stepping into, because growing up being first generation Vietnamese American, the typical notion of, hey, do good in school, be respectful to your elders. Be respectful to your elders that's always one thing. But be good in school, become whatever high paying job, and that's that. But life is more complicated than that. And I didn't really feel what I wanted to be going into college and stuff. And this is not what I want to be. Cramming nights of studying, and then not getting any sleep, trying to pass exams and stuff. I'm good. This is not me. After one stressful semester, how old am I? 21. Oh, okay. Life is too short. Let's do this wrestling. Let's do it.
There you go.
And so forth.
Oh, wow. That's great. No, and It's funny. Like I'm Filipino American, so I get the sentiment of the mold of all the standards that we have growing up. This is honestly like this was honestly kind of eye opening hearing someone who's in that same mold. And it's a treat because like at least the mold is something that's kind of hard to break, but at the same time, once that's being flexed and bent, you get to see a little bit more of yourself naturally when that happens. So it's nice to see a fellow Asian American to talk about things. I'm like, wow, this kind of hit me in the chest.
I'm I'm really grateful to hear that from you. And with American professional wrestling, or professional wrestling in general, I hope that a legacy that I can put forth in this scene, in this whole conglomerate that is professional wrestling in its own. I want to be a forefront of what it means to put your mind and heart and all your passion into what you want to be, and don't let generational setback, don't let generations set you back on what you want to do. Again, because we only have one life to live, and we I'm grateful to live in a time where people can take the chance of going for a life that they want to live, and I hope that inspires. Again, it inspires. I really hope that it motivates and inspires and captivates those after me to take on the path.
Right. Thank you so much, Dustin, for having you on.
My man, thank you so much.
Oh, come on, high priest. Come on, we're just playing ping pong with kindness at this point.
You don't know ping pong. You don't know ping pong, so you go to a Hong Kong park. That's what you do.
Oh my god,
that's the one scene in the Karate Kid 2011, 2012, or 2010, I forgot. Like where James Smith playing ping pong with the old man. That's like the most accurate thing in the entire movie.
Oh my gosh, we just went there on this episode. But otherwise, I have nothing left to give. Where can we find you? And if you have anything upcoming, and we're definitely going to talk about the Evil We Do this coming Sunday on the 28th. So take it away.
Of course. And to everyone who's come this far, I'm very grateful to everyone who took their time listening, watching. And again, Emmanuel, thank you so much for having me as your guest for tonight. And where you can find me, or for all my social medias, let's go with Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Actually, Wind Dragon DN. Like it's all lowercase. It's simple as that. And on Facebook, you can send me a search of Dustin Nguyen, and you can find me there. And where you can find me next, there's New Texas Pro Gorgeous in Buda, Texas on May 11th, I believe, where I'll be facing off against Max Heights, and most importantly, the Inspire A.D. April 28th is where you'll see the Wind Dragon come back to Austin, Texas.